Getting to be that time of year. It is 52 degrees now. Last night it was about 32. So it's time to winterize. My plan for this video is to really share with you a step-by-step video guide on how to winterize. In this case, a Roadtrek, but I'm trying to generalize it enough so that it would work with pretty much any camper van or RV. The thing that's a bit unique about this particular Roadtrek, it's a 2006 190 Versatile, is that it has two tanks, two freshwater tanks, an inside or winter tank and an outside or summer tank, and they're connected by a valve. And so basically we're going to do a winterization project that addresses both of those tanks. So there's a little bit of duplication. I'm not quite sure if you need to do the duplication. I've always done it in the past 5 years. I haven't had any issues with winterization. So I'll quickly go through the steps. So first thing you need to do is drain the gray and the black tanks. I'm lucky here where I live, where my local town has a wastewater treatment plant, and I can just drive there and drain my tanks. I don't have to go to a campground or something like that. So get those things drained. The next step is to drain, in this case, the inside and the outside freshwater tanks. Third step is we're going to turn off the pump, and then we're going to open the hot and cold water valves around the van. So those are the sink valves, the shower valves, the outside shower valves, the toilet valve, and just make sure that all of the water has been drained out as much as possible. I'm doing it with the pump off so I can lower the pressure. Lowering the pressure allows me to then, this next step is to remove the hot water tank anode. Occasionally I've forgotten to drain the water and turn off the pump. And when you go and open that anode up, man, that thing will shoot out like a projectile, which it has done. Trust me, we won't do that this time. We'll replace the anode if necessary. Give a flush out to the hot water tank just to get all of the bits of aluminum and other stuff out of the tank. We'll put the hot water tank in bypass, and that's going to prevent the antifreeze that we're putting into the system from having to fill up the hot water tank. We'll then add 2 gallons of antifreeze to the inside or winter tank. We'll turn on the pump, and then we'll open up all the faucets one at a time, hot and cold, for the shower, the toilet, the sink, and the outside shower. And we'll do it in such a way, hopefully it takes less than 2 gallons to bring pink antifreeze through each of those, so you know that there's antifreeze in those lines. The next thing we'll do is we'll empty the gray and black tanks again, so those will both have some antifreeze in them. We'll just try to empty them out. It's usually, you know, with this particular van, it has a macerator, that's a pump, and a chopper. You press it and it will pulse a few times before it's empty, so we'll just get as much out as we can. And then we're going to put the system into summer mode. So that basically means opening up the valve between the inside tank and the outside tank, and changing the pump valve to access that outside tank. Once we've done that, we'll add some more antifreeze, up to another couple of gallons, into that summer tank or the outside tank, and then we'll do the same thing. We will turn on the pump and we'll run something through all of the valves, so the hot and cold water in the sink, in the shower, the outside shower, and the toilet, again to a point where each of those, it's just pink fluid coming out. And then finally we'll empty the gray and black tanks again. Be sure when you do it at that time that it's just pink fluid coming out and there's no more water in there. That's going to winterize your macerator. And then finally what I do is I put a little bit of antifreeze into the sink, into the drain of the sink, into the drain of the shower, and then also into the toilet, so that we've got any of the traps have some antifreeze. And then we're done for the winter. All right, so let's get to it. So first step, we've emptied out the gray and the black tank. The next thing is to empty my freshwater tanks. So the way I need to do it, I have one valve to empty both tanks. It's on the outside tank. So what I first need to do is make sure that the inside tank is draining into the outside tank. So we do that in this particular model underneath the bed. I'll take a look at this. We'll open up this drawer and you'll see that valve right there. That valve, as long as it is in line with the pipe, and that pipe comes from the inside tank, which you can see right here, and that's going to flow to the outside tank. So as long as that's open, all of the water that's in here is going to drain out to the outside tank. So we just need to go to that outside tank, open up that low point, and wait a while. It definitely takes quite a bit of time. Let's see, there it is, right there. Again, there's a valve there. We will open that up. We'll come back when that has emptied, close it all up, and then put some antifreeze in that inside tank, and we'll do the winterization with the inside tank. All right, let's check and see how that front tank is doing, see if we're done. It's been about 10 minutes or so. There wasn't that much water in it to begin with. It looks like we are just about done. A little bit of dripping coming out of there. So I'll just go and close that up, and then we'll open up all the valves, release all the pressure from the system, and clean out that hot water tank. So I've turned the pump off. The next thing I'm going to do is just kind of work around the van to all of the valves to release the pressure, get any water out. So I'm starting out here with the outside shower. Turn on the hot water. That's the important one. We want to make sure the pressure is released on that. We'll turn on the cold water, and we'll just get any water that's in there out. So we'll let that continue to drip. Yeah, a lot of water in there. I also, just for the heck of it, I turned this yellow valve in here. This is the valve that allows me, when I'm hooked up to city water, to run that city water straight to all my outlets, or to fill up the tank. So I'm going to just open it to the tank fill mode just to release any air that might be in there, and then put it back to city mode. All right, so that is just about done. Let that continue to drip, and then we'll go inside. So we've emptied out the outside shower. Let's start working inside. First thing, we'll go to the sink. We'll go hot water, and at this point, everything is drained. Go to cold water. That's good. Close that up. Next thing is the shower. And I'll take my shower out. And we will throw that in the sink. We'll turn the shower hot and the shower cold on. Make sure the actual faucet is open. This has an off and on. So make this as sure it's open. That's closed. All right, so nothing in there. I actually didn't use the shower at all this year, so not surprised that there was no water in there. Let's just throw this back in here. And then next step, working our way around in a circle. We'll go to the toilet. Nothing. All right. So our whole system is depressurized. Any water that was under pressure has drained out. I'm going to go back outside and close up the shower valves that are outside, and then we'll start working on the hot water heater. All right, so there we go. Take that out. here's where my anode is, and we're going to loosen that up. And this tends to be a bit of a process. I think I do it by, I'll just close that. I put this large adjustable wrench onto it, and I use the small one to get myself a little bit of leverage. So you always want to make sure you don't stand right in front of it, like I did last year when I hadn't depressurized it. And this is just in case there's any pressure left, you won't get soaked and the anode won't come flying out at you. All right, so we just did a little one turn, another turn. We seem to have properly depressurized this. All right, let's see what the anode looks like. There's a little bit left. You notice right on this edge here, all gone. I do have a new one. I think I'm going to replace that. I'm not sure if I need to replace it yet since I have all of this sacrificial material here, but maybe as a just in case. I don't know if you can see, but all of those pieces of anode are kind of coming out. That's all in my hot water tank. We'll empty that out. All right, it looks like we are just about there. I'm gonna give it a quick squirt with the hose just to get some of that material out. Yeah, it's definitely coming out kind of gray. Oh yeah, and then I'll do that again in the spring. So while that tank is draining out there, I've left the anode out, a few more drops in there, gave it a little bit of a wash. I'm back inside and we're ready to put the tank into bypass mode. So what bypass mode allows me to do is when I'm filling the system up with antifreeze, it prevents the antifreeze from actually going into the tank, so I don't have to go and put 6 gallons or however big this thing is, 6 gallons of antifreeze into this tank. So the way I bypass it, right now it's in summer mode, it's working, so it's allowing water to go into the tank, come out of the tank. You notice both of these valves are open, the valve is in line with the pipe, and then this crossover of this bypass is closed, so the water can only go in and out, and that's it. What we want to do is we want to prevent the water from going in, so we'll turn this off. We want to prevent it from coming out. We'll turn this one off, and then we want to open up the bypass. So we'll press that one, that comes up, that's in line. So now the antifreeze is going to run like this, and it's not going to fill up the tank. So we've got that set up. So now we're just about ready to go and put the antifreeze in. But before we do that, we want to put this into winter mode. So in other words, I'm going to first winterize the inside tank. So I want to do that first by going to that inside tank again, which is right here. Go to this valve here, and I'm going to close that. And so when I put antifreeze into this tank, it's not going to flow down into the second tank. I don't want it to do that yet. And then I'm going to run the pump and open up all my valves, and I want it to pull from that inside tank. And the way I do that is, again, the other step in winter and summer mode, inside tank and outside tank mode, is this valve here. The way I remember it in my van is when the valve is pointing outside, it's in summer mode. When it's pointing inside, it's in winter mode. That's just my way of remembering. And so now the pump is going to pull just from that inside tank. So let's go and take care of that. So in my van, I fill up my winter tank or inside tank from this little fill point here. And I'm going to put 2 gallons in. I've created a little extension for my funnel. So funnels from the hardware store. I bought a little 1-foot section of tube from the hardware store. And I just shoved that in there. It just makes it that much easier. All right. You do want to do this fairly slowly so it doesn't back up. But our goal is to put in 2 gallons. All right, there's 1 gallon. And there's 2 gallons. I always replace this cap right away, just so I don't forget it, just so I don't lose it. Okay, so let's turn on the pump. And we'll start pumping some antifreeze through. So first I'm gonna do is cold water. And a little bit in there, we should start seeing pink. There's some pink. Go to hot water. We should start seeing pink. There we go. That looks good. My shower's on. Nice. All right, so let's do the toilet. There's pink. And I think we already knew that this was going to be pink as well. But we'll do it anyway. There we go, that's pink on the hot side. There's the cold side. Cold side is pink as well. And we'll send that down into the toilet. And we'll leave this down here. Okay, so we've done the inside, we've done the shower, toilet, and the sink. The only thing that remains at this point is the outside shower. So let's do that. All right, here's our outside shower. Let's do the cold. There's pink. Let's do the hot. And that looks like it's pink. And while we're over here, before we forget, let's close up this anode for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that in the spring. So I'll just give that just enough of a tighten, hand tighten, so it doesn't fall off as I use this in the winter. Put this in, pull this out, make sure that's in there real good so you don't lose it. That's kind of a pain to lose. Okay, so we've done the inside or winter mode of the water system. Next, we're going to drain what's remaining of that antifreeze down into the outside tank. We'll just repeat the process for any of the lines that might be just from the outside tank or the summer tank. So let's get to it. We're now going to repeat the procedure, but for the outside tank. So first thing we want to do is drain any remaining antifreeze from the inside or winter tank to the outside tank. And how are we going to do that? Going to go back underneath the bed, and we're going to flip that valve. All right, so there's my valve. We're going to open that, so now the water is going to go from this tank this way to the outside tank. After we've changed that valve from the inside tank to the outside tank, we want to remember to change the valve for the pump to put it into summertime or outside operation. And we do that by taking this red valve and pointing it outside. So now as we suck in all the antifreeze from that outside tank, it'll be sucking it from the proper tank. If we forgot to do that, it would be sucking air out of the inside tank. You'd quickly notice because the pump would start spittering and spattering. All right, let's go put some antifreeze in the front tank. The fill for the outside tank is here in the driver's side door, and we'll go do the same thing. I'm using minus 50 degree RV and marine antifreeze. I got this either at Home Depot or Walmart or at my local hardware store, wherever I can get it cheapest. I found that if you usually wait until this time of year when people start winterizing their boats and RVs and camps, that the price tends to go down. So I usually don't have to look for a good price during the year. I can just wait until I need it, and typically the price is pretty reasonable. I'm just going to put 1.5 gallons in. I'm assuming I had a little left over from that from the inside tank. So that way I can use what remains to just dump down the sink and dump down the shower drain, just to make sure that there's enough in there. Although, of course, I'll be running those faucets directly into those drains, and it should be 100% antifreeze at that point. But this is a just in case. All right, it's about half. And now, pump is still on. The valves are set up to draw from this outside tank. Set up that red valve to point outside. So I should be able to just go around to all of my valves and open them up. Since we're outside, let's start with the outside ones. So there's my hot. Run that for a little bit. Make sure I don't see any clear at any point. That all looks good. We'll run the cold for a little bit. There you go. There was just a little bit of clear in there. Now it's pink. That's good. All right, let's head on the inside. Hot water first. There's pink. So one thing we don't want to forget, especially with a system with a macerator, which is what my 190V has, is running all of that antifreeze that we put into the gray and black tanks out through the hose. So what we'll do is we'll open up our black tank. Always do black first, follow it up with gray. Just a good habit to get into. Press the macerator button, and we make sure all the water is out. So there's gray water coming out. There we go, just turned to pink. Nice, that looks good. And then we'll close the black tank. Open up the gray. And we'll do the same. All right, there's some clear water coming out. Not a lot came out. I'm going to dump that other 1/2 gallon into the gray tank and pump that out. All right, I dumped what remained of my antifreeze into the sink, just to get a little bit more down there. I didn't see a lot come out, so I've got the gray open. Let's just pump that out. All right, there, it's good. Nice and gray, excellent. And that does it. So, kind of quickly recap what our process was. Go back to my list. We drained the gray and the black tanks off-site. We drained the inside and the outside tanks, the winter and the summer tanks, turned off the pump, and we opened the hot and cold water valves all around just to release the pressure. I took out the hot water tank anode. There was no pressure there. We were good. I'm going to replace the anode in the spring. We flushed the hot water tank to get any of that gray matter out. Put that hot water tank into bypass mode. We put the system into winter mode, added 2 gallons of antifreeze to the inside tank, the winter tank, turned on the pump, and then went to all of the valves. Turned all of them on, hot and cold, to make sure that pink antifreeze came out. That was the shower, the toilet, the sink, and the outside shower. Don't forget those outside faucets. I then emptied the gray and the black tanks again. We put the system into summer mode, which drained the remaining antifreeze down into that outside tank. I put 1.5 gallons more into the outside tank, and then I repeated, opening all the valves till I got pink antifreeze out of all of the spigots. And then finally we emptied the gray and the black tanks again. We noticed that we didn't quite have enough in the gray tank, so I added a little bit more just to make sure there wasn't any water in there. I put a little bit down the toilet as well. I made sure that all the pink fluid went into the sink trap and the shower trap. And we are winterized, and we're ready to run this baby all winter long, which is what I'm going to be doing. So hopefully we'll be having a winter fat biking video coming up soon, and some other winter time activities. If you have any questions, if you liked this, please like the video. Please subscribe for more content like this. Any questions or suggestions for how you might do this differently, let me know in the comments. Would love to hear what you have to say. Take care, everyone.